Hello. Thank you for being here. I'm practicing running through presentations, and there's a theme that keeps coming up in that even though we are now social distancing, offices are at 10% capacity in the United States, and the majority of the world has been locked away in some form of isolation for quite a while. What this has done is this has taken the space that was provided in between meetings where we would have to travel from one location to the next, and it has filled it with several clicks of a button, which take admittedly less time. And I think what has happened is because all of our systems and all of our habits and much of our self-worth for many of us is wrapped up in how many things we can get done in a day and how productive we are. What this has done is created a whole bunch of people that are even busier than they've ever been before, and they're even more frazzled, and they're moving less, and so all of this frazzling and stress from being a couple of minutes late to your next Zoom meeting builds up in the body, and the body doesn't have space to move. So in acknowledgement and recognition of this, I would like to start all of my conversations. First with a thankfulness, with an acknowledgement of the land which I am currently on, the Native American land that I am currently on. So here in zip code 80205, Denver, Colorado, we are on Arapaho, Cheyenne, Ute, and Sioux land. I'm taking this moment to acknowledge that we are here because of a lot of broken promises, because of a lot of lies, and because of a lot of blood spilled and lost. We are here because of treachery. We are here because of nothing less than treason. We are here because of gross crimes against humanity committed by the forefathers of the people of the United States, who are currently inhabiting the land of the United States. We are here because of colonization, and we are here because of nefarious ways. And it is now our responsibility, those of us sitting here thinking about this, to fix the systems and to apologize for the crimes of our forefathers, and not just to apologize, but to take action and to rectify as best we can and move forward in a way that can cohesively pull us together. Which brings me to our next points, quite lovely. And I say our points because I'm hoping that you will join me in taking these kind of pieces of thought leadership and gather around and let's lift some of these ideas and principles up so that way we can build a system moving forward that actually serves the people that are within it, not the things. Our cities are built for cars, not for us. Like, what? Come on. Humans are inside the cars. We gotta pay attention to the things operating the vehicle. I mean, we do arrest drunk drivers when we catch them, after all. I'm saying we an awful lot. Anyway, so the first thing that I would like to talk about is that we need stakeholder integration. And so one of the things that Twigs & Co., the company that I have, does is we get to translate between a very traditional capitalistic standpoint and a very kind of traditional, like, conservationist mindset of, we have all these habits built in that we cannot do well and make a lot of money at the same time, when in fact this is absolutely false. Or if we're doing well, we can't talk about it. That's even worse. Like, building community is a huge thing, and now that we're all separated and the only way that we get to communicate and that people can see into our lives is what we tell them, we absolutely need to talk about it. And if we are doing good in the world, like, perhaps the way that we're doing good is mind-blowing and brilliant to someone else who's never thought about it that way, and then they can go do good in the way that you're doing good, and so you get to set an example. So with this language of having stakeholders be important and be not just thought about, but actually integrated into the conversations that you're having as a business, as an organization, as a government, as a club, as whatever you want. So in doing this, the language isn't really built out. We've been in a capitalistic system, and everything's been focused on a single bottom line for quite a while, and things have been focused on nothing but profit since the 70s. And if you look at the technology that we have and how we function as a society between now and the 70s, many ways in which we interact have changed completely. And yet our systems and our structures that have built are legacy structures because they're big and they're physical. And so talking about something is one thing, but having the physical manifestation of that thing is a totally different one. And in our systems and in our worlds and in our economies, we have the words for stakeholder integration, but our systems have not been built up and caught up to this yet. And so stakeholder integration is absolutely important. What we're saying is that having a consideration of your impact on people and people's impact on you, and having a consideration of the planet and the planet's impact on you, because global warming and breathing is a thing, and we need a certain mix of things to be able to breathe, to survive, and we're fucking with that mix. And then also, of course, we have to pay attention to profit, because money is currency, and currency is like electricity, and it is an energy that moves things and can, really just amplify intention. But we have to set the wiring properly. And so in doing this, we have to develop new language. We have to figure out new ways to assess what we're seeing happen in front of us. And one of the things that the triple bottom line approach really allows us to start talking about is it gives us the language to be able to start talking about it. Like, just the base language and how we communicate needs to be shifted, because we have such a it's such a combative language, which actually leads to the third part. One of the third things that no, it leads directly into it. Fuck yeah! Okay, so one of the wires that we need to build is this ability and this framework for not just collaboration. I'm talking about radical collaboration, like, excuse me, like not only being in contract and having money flow back and forth like in a referral kind of contract, but I'm talking about being in agreement that, hey, I'm going to call you on your shit, you call me on my shit, and we're going to take time, and we're going to figure out how to do that in the most productive way, so that way, instead of getting butthurt over a 15-minute conversation, we can have a 10-minute conversation and come out of it with solutions on the other side, or a clearer picture of what's going on, or a clearer path of empathy, or a broader scope of something, or a new idea, because new ideas have come from so much less than that. Like Newton got hit on the head by an apple and came up with gravity, which there are issues with that story, but that's a footnote for another time. So we need to be able to move beyond this, and one of the really cool things that I like about this little project being done by the UN. So the UN has put out 17 sustainable development goals that we as a species, we as a globe, we as a society, not just like a society within the United States, like as a global society, we need to address these things to be able to continue habitating and cohabitating, and not just continue on the levels that we've been in, but continue and move forward into levels that we dream about, into the default not being miserable. Now, once you get down into the KPIs of what the UN's working on, there's a danger in those KPIs, because if you look at the people operating in these systems and how these systems are designed, as a species, we have designed ourselves into systems that are based on scarcity mindset kind of principles. So there's not enough. Maria Putnam, she just got married. She was Maria Segura, now Maria Putnam. She said a really beautiful thing, and what it was that she realized that givers always have, and takers never have enough. Givers always have; they always have enough to give. And takers never have enough, because they're always looking for something. They're always trying to fill a void or fill something. And that's fascinating. That's a perfect illustrating example of the difference between a scarcity mindset, which is I don't have enough, so I need to hoard everything that I have, to I have enough and I will be taken care of, and so let me take care of all these other people because I have enough. The world is an abundant place, and truly, in nature, it is. If you go and walk through the woods and have someone by you who knows how to forage and knows herbology, there is food literally everywhere. We just don't know how to see it. We haven't been trained in how to see it in this day and age. And then in cities, in urban areas and built environments, we have taken the space for food and we have paved over it. There's a song and there's a line in it, we paved over paradise with a parking lot. We have. We've paved over a world that wants us to be taken care of and have replaced it with a system that is broken. And it is so broken. And there are some foundational pieces of the United States government that's really good. So if you look at how specifically our legal language is written and the addresses of the legal language, that is so we can pinpoint specific pieces and remove them and put them back in with things that make sense, or shift them around, or create a system that is designed to evolve with its people. Powers that be, patriarchy at play, and this patriarchy goes so much farther back than the founding of this country. It's really quite incredible. But the scarcity mindset, all of these things at play, have mired this thing in all of these heavy things that keep people oppressed. These policies and these excessive committees and these excessive hoops and all of these other things. But our system, there is something well designed about the United States government. So you have a series, ideally, of checks and balances. The replication of this as the country has grown, as scale. The implementation of the scaling of this system, I think, could have been done better. However, the United States is an experiment, guys. People. We have to remember that the United States was set up as an experiment in seeing if this governance thing can really truly work at this scale. And what happens in experiments is sometimes you go off course. And then you're like, oh man, you look back at what's been done and you're like, probably shouldn't do that again. But you know what? We did this other thing that was pretty good. So let's do more of that and less of that. And then let's move forward and do something else and find a solution for this place where we're at. And so we have the potential to actually see and actually learn from everything that's going on. But it can be overwhelming. And because of this, we absolutely need to use radical collaboration. And radical collaboration is you have the contractual thing going on, so you've got the money flow going on. And then I think part of it is going to be that there are so many different pieces, and people gather so many beautiful skill sets over time that I feel like there's going to be some identification of all of these different facets. So for example, I have a consulting colleague, and she did Reiki on me last night, and then we did a ceremony, and I did essential oils on her. We're going to teach together. We are in some of the same advisory groups, and we know each other on a professional level, and we've built a friendship, and now we know each other on a practitioner level of like metaphysical medicines. And metaphysical is meaning beyond the physical. So just like ultraviolet is a different set of rays of light, this is a different set of physics and a different set of physical things to interact with. But I think that's a piece of radical collaboration. And then has to be an intentional addressation of ego and language and things along these lines. And yes, it will take longer, maybe, to establish these relationships. I think if we have fairly high functioning, fairly self-aware people with proper intention, surrounded by good things and protections and things that call us on our shit and all these other kinds of things, I think that we can actually do this relatively quickly. And I say that, and you may say no, which is fine, for sure. If you don't believe me, I'm not going to waste my time and try to talk you into it. However, I really hope you do believe me, because I really, 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 really think I'm right. And I really hope I am, because if I'm right, the world that I'm talking about us building is abundant and beautiful, and we get to have fun. We don't have to look forward to the 2 weeks of vacation that we're not going to fully utilize as Americans to have fun for a couple of days. We actually get to integrate and have fun into our lives, which brings me to probably one of the biggest, most foundational pieces, and I think that this one's going to be the hardest. If I have to be honest with you, I think that this one's going to be the hardest, is that we must rest. It is our responsibility to take a world that is filled with clutter and muck and advertisements and noise and all of these things constantly bombarding us and constantly throwing us into stressful environments and stressful mindsets and stressful stress responses with hormones going through our bodies, we must take a moment and create the space to allow for better things to come through. Because if all of this space is filled with bullshit, the real stuff can't come through. And I feel like that's an insult to bullshit, because cow manure is actually a fantastic fertilizer. But the stuff that we're being bombarded with is not here to help us grow. And well, actually, all of that's framing too, because you can look at it and be like, no, this is here to help me grow, because this is the thing that I need to overcome. This is why I was born in this time, in this place, with these accesses, with these privileges. It's right now. It's right here. And part of our jobs as people who know that, as things who know that, as bodies who know that, is it is our job to be like, no, I am crushed by calendar invites and happy hours and things that I should learn, because the world is an amazing and beautiful and expansive place with all sorts of really interesting things in it and things that I feel like I need to do. So we're being crushed by this. There's no movement here. There's no space. It is our responsibility to go through the discomfort, because it's going to take a lot of retraining. It's going to take a lot of habit breaking, but we got to go through this discomfort and push out this space, because in this space is innovation, is ideas, is fun, is relaxation, is the things that are nourishing and allow us to grow. And if you take flowers and you mush them, they're not going to bloom. But if you take flowers and you give them a little bit of space, they're going to bloom. We got to be the flowers, or whatever other analogy you want to use. Probably think of one that's like more rough and tumble, but for later. So thank you. This was a practice. Pieces of thought leadership. This is what I'm thinking. These are like my 4 rallying points. And that's about delivery and getting a little succinct, probably not coughing in the middle of the whole thing. I really think we got I have my depressed days for sure. And then I really have my days of like, why the fuck am I even trying? But I really think that if we can pull together and do these, I think we can figure this out. And I think we can do it like quick too. And then if we create space for innovation that then creates technology that can do things like harvest carbon out of the air and turn it into something that we can build, or that fertilizes something or does something good and puts it back into the system, we could live in a super cool world.